everybody, welcome back to another episode of KZip Cooks. I hope you are all well, and I'm swiveling on my chair today, apparently. Doesn't want to stay the right way. We're gonna make pasta today, so I'm very excited about it. We're gonna do pasta that you can make at home without needing a pasta maker, so you don't need like a fancy attachment for your, if you have a KitchenAid, you don't need the pasta attachment, you don't need a separate attachment, and we're gonna, just have some fun with pasta and pasta shapes. But you don't need any fancy rollers, you don't need any fancy boards or anything. We're gonna have some fun, and I'm gonna show you a few different ways you can make your own unique pasta shapes. So it's very simple. We're gonna use the recipe from Bon Appetit. So this doesn't need the fancy 00 flour or the semolina flour. If you do have 00 flour or semolina flour, you might want to substitute about half and half. So you've got half all-purpose flour and half of the pasta flour, if we will. I don't know, I like the texture a little bit better, but it totally works with pure all-purpose flour, which is what we're gonna do today. So this is an egg pasta dough, and you only need 4 ingredients, and most of us should have these. So you need eggs. You need 3 large eggs. I've got them here. You need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, which I've got here. You need about a teaspoon salt and about a generous tablespoon of oil. And that's all you need to get started. It's very easy, it's very basic. I'll show you how to make my version of a bolognese sauce as well. Beef doesn't agree with me very often, so I have a pork-based one that I like to make. So I'll also show you how to make that, but we're gonna start with our pasta. So enjoy the ride. All right, so we have our flour and our salts. We're gonna put those together. If you do have a stand mixer, go ahead and throw that into your stand mixer now. If you don't, you can do it by hand, it's totally fine. I wanna use my dough hook attachment for this. Sorry for the cloud of, I'm not sure if that's glare from my light or if that's the flour rising around. I think it's just the glare. I'm gonna use this because I don't want to knead forever and ever, but you can totally do this by hand. You don't need a mixer at all. We're gonna just make a little bit of a kind of a well or a dent in the middle of your pile of flour. I'm gonna crack my 3 eggs. I'm gonna do it in a separate bowl first, just because if you're like me, you'll get parts of shells in there. This doesn't want to come out, so. Tip for getting shells out is if you get a little bit of water on your hand or your finger, it's actually a little bit easier to get it out. That one came out not too bad though. This is where I'm gonna get publicly shamed for my inability to crack eggs in a fancy manner. All right, so I'm gonna just give these a little bit, break up those yolks just a little bit. You don't have to be too crazy with it. I'm gonna add my oil. Just blend that a little bit. For oil, I like to use olive oil. You could definitely use like a vegetable oil, but because it's a savory dish, that, I don't know, the flavor of an olive oil is kind of nice in pasta, so I'm using olive oil. So now that I've got that all blended up, I'm gonna pour that in the well in the middle of my flour and salt. And I'm gonna turn my mixer on first, just kind of on medium, just to kind of get it all incorporated first into a really shaggy dough. And it takes a couple of minutes, so don't worry. There we go. So you can see it's a fairly shaggy dough so far. It's not sticking together super hard, if that makes sense. And I figured out why I had that fun glow on my camera was because I had it on this. I had bumped one of my settings apparently when I was setting up today. So it's just kind of starting to come together. And we're gonna let it keep mixing away. So our shaggy dough, I'm gonna pull it out just so you can see what it looks like. It's pretty, I've got the gooey stuff on the end of my hook here. You might find that you have to it wants to stick around your hook a lot. So you might have to take it off and kind of detach it a couple times. And if it's really not sticking together, you can add a little bit more oil, or if it's really, really dry. So that's our like really shaggy dough there. So I'm just gonna use my hands to kind of bring it together a little bit, and then I'm gonna pop it back in the mix. Or on the whatchamacallit, this thing, my mixer. So I just wanna kind of bring it together. So another reason why you can add an extra egg if you need to is, I mean, all eggs are different sizes. They can weigh anywhere from like 40 to 60 grams or more. So if it's really like, for me, I still have a lot of, even though it's all incorporated, you can see I've still got lots of dry stuff in there. So I'm actually gonna get another egg out of the fridge and add it in just to be on the safe side. We're gonna just go straight for it. I'm just gonna use, I had a fork here, I don't now, but I'm gonna just use that knife to kind of, all the wet stuff that's in the bottom. Plunk my bigger, wetter dough back in on top. Like that. And then I'm gonna throw it back on the dough hook again. All right, I'm back. So I've had the mixer going for a little while. It's still a little bit wet, but it's much closer to what we want. So I've put some flour down here on my board. I'm going to just scoop all of this out as best I can. And I'm gonna put a little bit more flour over top. And I'm just gonna make sure it's all coming together nicely and knead it a little bit by hand, just to make sure that if there's any extra like really sticky bits, that they're kind of coming out and I'm getting flour kind of incorporated into them. And my board doesn't stay in one place, so I apologize if you hear banging from me making it move and bump into things. But the idea with pasta dough, and the reason why you want to knead it for so long, is that you want to have that elasticy gluten. You want the gluten to start to form and bring a lot of like spring. So you can see right away when I go like that, it bounces back. So if I squish it and then it kind of puffs up again, that's what you're going for. And you want it to be really smooth. So it's still quite lumpy, and you can tell even when I knead it that it is like, it's not, if you go like this, you can see it kind of separating there. It shouldn't look lumpy when you do that. All right, so I think the dough is starting to look more like how we want it to. So I'm gonna throw it back in the mixer for about 5 minutes and just leave it, let it do its thing. And then what you're gonna do, once it's smooth and nice and elastic, is throw it into a plastic bag and let it rest for a half an hour. You can let it rest up to a day before you use it. So if you're wanting to make some dough ahead of time and then just form the pasta right before you want to cook it, you can totally do that. You can also make your pasta shapes and then keep those in the fridge for a day, or they'll freeze really well as in addition to that. All right, great. So I'm gonna throw this back in my mixer for 5 minutes and put it, and then let it rest, and then I will see you guys in a bit. And now it's been about a half an hour. Our pasta dough has been sitting. So I'm gonna take it out of our bag here. It's a little bit sticky. So I'm gonna actually just put a little bit of flour down. Just kind of give it a good little pat there. Knock off any of the excess, just to keep it from being too sticky. So what we're gonna do is, the idea is I want this to be pasta that you can make at home without needing any kind of a roller or anything like that. So you can use a rolling pin if you want to make noodles. If you use a rolling pin and roll it as thin as you can, and then fold it kind of in half over on top of itself, and then just cut it in strips like that, that'll give you nice long noodles. But we're gonna have a little bit of fun. So I'm gonna cut just a little wedge off like that, and I'm gonna put the rest, when you're not working with your main dough or any that you're leaving to rest, put it back in the bag just so that way it doesn't dry out. So I've got a nice little wedge here. I'm just gonna use my thing there, and I'm just gonna roll it out into a nice long log. So if you kind of spread your fingers apart as you roll, it'll be a little bit easier to roll it out, and you'll see it's got a lot of springs, so I pull it out and it springs back a lot, and that's what you're going for. That's what you feel like. And your dough will have softened up also quite significantly in the process. So it might take a little while to roll out a log, but we're gonna try. Just kind of encourage it out. I'm gonna bring it around this way. Ew, can't pick it up. I don't need quite so much flour on the surface. So you're shooting for about pencil thick, maybe a little bit thicker with your rolled logs here. And yeah, I usually just start in the center, keep my fingers nice and spread apart, and then like gradually push outwards. And this one end doesn't want to get too skinny for whatever reason, but that's okay. So I'm going to show you a few different options of things that you can do. This is like the basis for doing any kind of like a gnocchi, or if you have a board like this. So it's got these fun, where's the lens? I'm not used to having the camera here. So it's got these nice, it's untreated wood, it's got these little grooves, and you can roll your pasta off that way on your thumb or this way to give it a different texture. I like doing it this way. I'll throw in a picture of what it looks like when you do it this way, and I'll also show you, but it's a fun thing. But I will warn you though, that if you're doing a whole batch pasta of this, you'll get a bit of a blister on your finger if you haven't done it before. Once you have a callus, it's not so bad. Okay, we're gonna just go with this because I'm feeling a little bit lazy and it just doesn't, I don't know why it doesn't want to roll perfectly for me. Maybe put tinge too much flour so it just doesn't want to, I don't know why this one end doesn't want to roll. Maybe I just need to yell at it more, I don't know. That's a little bit better. Okay, anyways, so I'm just folding it in half to do this, and then I cut about a 1/2 inch size pieces. So this is a little bit thicker, but that's okay. I'll kind of see what. But yeah, about 1/2 inch long segments like this. So if you were to use the gnocchi board, if you just go like this and push down firmly, so you can see how it's sticking. So that means my dough is like a little bit sticky yet, but there you go. So there's one. So you can see the fun little shapes that it ends up being, which is super cool. I don't know if because I don't have great light up here, but come on, camera. Doesn't want to focus, but oh, there we go. There we go. So that's what that looks like. So that's so if you want one of these are very inexpensive. You just look up a gnocchi board. They're about $8 or so on Amazon. I'll throw a link in the description box down below so you can see where you can get one. But if you don't have a gnocchi board and you don't want to invest, you can try grabbing a fork. And you can do the same thing. So see how the grooves go down? It'll take a little bit longer because it's not going to roll quite the same, but you'll get a similar kind of idea. And again, my dough's a little bit sticky right now, so I should probably knead in a little bit of flour. If we try it off the back side. So you get, it's not quite as, because it's not as thick. They're not going to be quite the same, but you get something kind of fun and similar. So like here's see if we can get the camera to focus again. Come on, camera. Whoops. And then I'm just throwing things because why not? But so there's like our two side by side. I don't know why my camera is deciding it just doesn't want to focus, but it's lazy. Anyway, so there's the two side by side. So that's another option. Anything that you have that's textured, so I found this slotted spoon. You could totally go over the slotted spoon. Same sort of thing. This one's a little bit weirder looking, but it works. You can also just go like this on the board as well. There's actually, I'll show you, there you go. That is actually, there's, I can't remember what it's called, something to do with like ears or something, but you can just kind of go like that off a board. And if you want to be like really technical about it, you can like flatten it out and whatnot. There's another one, let me see if I can do it. I haven't practiced any of these shapes. They all take practice. This is the gnocchi board is the one that I've practiced a bunch. But you can also, if you put your thumb here and then kind of spread with your knife, that's another, you can do that as well. But I like the gnocchi board ones. But yeah, it's just have fun. Find something with a texture. I was actually thinking, let me see if it's down here. I don't know if this will work. I've seen people use cheese graters before, but let's see if what this kind of does. It's kind of fun. I don't know if you can see it very well. I need to cut it more. Here, let me find. So if you have like something like this, gives you kind of a fun, you have to push it twice, but it gives you like a long kind of seashell type thing. So that is also an option as well. So these are a few different ones you can make. If you do want to do, say, a rolled shape, I'm going to actually just put these all together because I'm going to start from scratch with these ones again. Let's say we did want to do a rolled shape. I'm just going to do this real quick. So if you wanted to make noodles, just for instance, so once you got this as flat as you did, if you fold it in on itself like that, or if you've made it quite a lot larger, you might want to fold it 4 or 5 times, and then you can just go and slice it however wide you want your noodle. So that's a really good way you can do it. But if we do this, you can tell because I'm not starting with a very nice square piece. This is not the most glamorous looking pasta, everybody. I'm just forewarning you. But so we'll say we'll go like that. But these are, you can make little bow ties. All you have to do is just go and pinch the middles. Boop. So you roll it out nice and thin and cut like about an inch long piece. And there you go, you've got like little bow tie pasta, which is kind of fun. If you do have, like I have these pasta or these like scraper things, I also have ones that have like these edges on them as well. So you can go like, if I wanted to, I could do that and then get the like fancy frilled edge. But I think these totally work as well. But it's kind of fun, I like the bow tie pastas. Which actually, maybe I'll do bow tie pasta today. I was gonna make a bunch of gnocchi pastas, but the bow ties are kind of fun. So yeah, all sorts of fun pasta shapes you can do. And it's all, like, there's no rule about how you do them and what you have to do for any particular one. The thicker they are, obviously you have to cook them a little bit longer, but we'll talk about cooking probably tomorrow when I make them, because I'm gonna make some pasta sauce as well. But so I think I'm going to make a bunch of little bow ties this time around, because these are kind of fun. And then what I like to do is I like to put them out on a cookie tray and let them dry out a little bit. Then you can either throw them in the freezer, or you can bake them fresh or cook them fresh just like this. They're super easy to make. They're a lot of fun. Experiment with shapes. Have fun, you know, you can roll stuff out. If you have a stainless steel knitting needle or something like that, you can also roll out the long skinny pieces and then roll them onto your, so if you cut them in like 2-inch pieces and then roll them onto your knitting needle, that works as well. You might want to make sure it's nice and clean after before you use it for knitting again, but that is another good option. So, but in the meantime, have some fun with your pasta. Make some new shapes up. Look around your house, see if you have fun textures. As I said, these are really awesome and they're not expensive, so they're great. But I think I'm going to do bow ties today. So, and welcome to part 2 of this video. So I'm going to do this a little bit less traditionally to how we've done most of the videos. So instead of watching me chop all this stuff up, I wanted to show you all the things that I like to use when I make a pasta sauce. So we start with an onion, and and mushrooms and celery. And we're gonna chop all of these up nice and fine and put them with some olive oil into a pan. You need about 250 grams of ground pork. You're gonna need some chicken or vegetable or beef stock mix, tomato paste, salt, pepper, preferably a dry wine. I don't have any, so I'm using Moscato. It does work. I have paprika. This is some parsley that I grew in my own garden and have dried, and some oregano. And I have this just because I want to blend these up a little bit more. You don't have to do that, but so these are our ingredients, and I will put all the portions in so you know what you're looking at. So while our vegetables are all sizzling and caramelizing, I have my ground pork here, which I'm going to salt. So I've got like a Himalayan rock salt, but any salt will do. I'm not going to put too much salt on because there'll be a little bit more salt in the broth. I'm going to use pepper. I like to use fresh ground pepper, but I'm out right now, so we're going to use Costco favorite. Pepper generously. Because I have my fresh sprigs of parsley, I'm just going to take my mortar and pestle and just kind of grind it up a little bit just to get them off of the twigs. Oops, apparently that's not working. They're just flying out of the thing. Sorry if you can hear all the sizzling in the background. See if this is working. You're also going to add some paprika. All of this is just to your personal preference. I like a little bit of a spicy paprika, so I'm pretty generous with this. I'd say probably about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. And where'd my oregano go? I have my oregano, but I'm going to add this later at the end because it'll be more flavorful. The other thing that you want to do is I have some, if you have homemade chicken stock or vegetable stock, that's great. I don't at the moment as well, so I'm just using this base, and you're going to add it to 2 cups of warm water. I think it recommends a teaspoon per 1 cup, 1 slightly rounded teaspoon per cup. So there we go. Just so it's all nice and dissolved and evenly incorporated. This is going to make up the bulk of your liquid in your recipe. I also would like to use wine to flavor. A dry wine is better. I have a Moscato that I have a little bit of left that's old. This works too. It's just a little bit of a sweeter sauce then. You can use red wine. Dry wine works really good though. Gives a little bit more robust flavor. And then for the tomato part, I just use a can of tomato paste. So once my veggies are all looking good, you add the meat until it's nice and brown, and then you add everything else, and you just let it simmer and simmer and simmer until it's thick and flavorful as you want. You can adjust by adding more salt, more pepper, more paprika, and then about 15 minutes before you're ready to eat it, go and throw in a good couple teaspoons of oregano. So we have our fresh pasta noodles, and I've got my sauce bubbling on the back burner, and now I have a big pot full of water, and I've salted the water a little bit, even though the pasta has a bit of salt in it. I did put some salt in the water, and now I'm going to put our fresh noodles in the pasta water until they are tender. It doesn't take quite as long as with like boxed pasta where it's hard, because these are soft. Anywhere from about 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how soft you like your noodles. All right, we have our noodles done. So, I hope that's maybe more than I need. Not exactly. I make food that tastes really good. I never guarantee that it will look very good though. But if you've ever had those Black Forest, those German style Black Forest noodles, these taste and look very similar to that. So there is our pasta. And then this is our sauce. It's been simmering about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I forgot to mention, I also put basil in as well. So I'll put a couple big scoops of that on. If you have Parmesan, totally put that on top. But there you go. There is your homemade pasta bolognese. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I am very excited to eat this. Yum! And now you get to see a bit of my my Sunday I don't care what I look like face. And bon appetit, everybody. Enjoy. Don't forget to grab a glass of wine. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.